Greetings, everyone. Welcome. Let's be sincere. Have you ever thought, why do some things constantly repeat in your life? It's like you always attract the same type of people, get stuck in the same obstacles, or that known why always me question keeps echoing in your brain. But what if I told you that these are not actually coincidences? What if the universe's very, very secret, ancient law is recording your every step, every thought, every word, and returning it to you just as you planted it? This is where karma steps onto the stage. You must have heard of it, right? In Sanskrit, simply meaning action, this word is generally summarized as what you sow, so shall you reap. But wait a minute. Believe me, this simple expression is just a very tiny hint of how deep and powerful a system karma is. This is not just an old belief. This is as if the operating system of the universe. From your relationships to your career, from your luck to your inner peace, everything in your life, yes, everything is affected by this principle. So why would such a seemingly simple law be the key to solving the most complex knots in our lives? And more importantly, let's say there is such a thing as bad karma. Is it possible to get rid of it, create a positive flow, and truly take control of your life? Great news. Yes, absolutely possible. But for this, we need to understand that karma is not just a punishment system, but also your greatest personal development teacher and an incredible power of transformation. In this video, we will deeply examine the 12 fundamental universal principles of karma together. We will discover how to recognize those repeating cycles in your life and, most importantly, how to rewrite the script of your future with your own hands. Get ready, because what you're about to learn will reveal that destiny is not just a written fate, but actually a dynamic energy shaped in your hands. I'm telling you now, we will start with the very basics, the great law of karma. This law is literally the key point for you to understand how everything in your life began. And believe me, it encompasses much, much more than you think. As we just mentioned, karma is not just a mystical belief, friends. It is the very principle of the universe's own functioning. Just like gravity, whether we know its existence or not, it affects every moment, every event in our lives. Now let's dive together into the most fundamental pillars of this deep wisdom, namely the 12 universal laws of karma. These are guides that will help you understand how every action and even every intention in your life returns to you. And believe me, each one contains much more meaning and power than you think. Are you ready? The great law, as you sow, so shall you reap. This is karma's most known and most basic law. In fact, it is simple and clear like life itself. Whatever you give to your life, that will return to you. This is not only valid for your physical actions, but also for your thoughts, words, and even your feelings. If you want more peace, love, harmony, or abundance in your life, you need to give these to others and to the universe. This law is about our thoughts and feelings towards ourselves as much as our behaviors towards others. If you constantly criticize yourself, belittle yourself, know that you are seeing what you sow for yourself. Think about everything you see in your life, that it was actually a seed planted by you once. So have you ever questioned how you planted these seeds? This law pushes us to this very question. The law of creation, life is a flow and we create it. Our life doesn't just happen to us, we actively create it. We carry desires, dreams, and huge goals within us, right? But these don't just happen by waiting. This law invites us to cease being passive spectators in life and become active participants. The things you see around you are actually a mirror of your inner world. Everything you see outside is a reflection of what is inside us. We must accept that we build our own world with our thoughts, intentions, and of course our actions. This law shows that destiny is not just a written fate, but actually a script we write every moment. So what do we need first to start writing this script? The next law explains exactly that. The law of humility, everything we don't accept continues to affect us. This law says, if there is a trait, a situation, or a truth we don't accept in our lives, or a truth we avoid facing, that thing will continue to bother us constantly. If we want to change something, the first step is to accept its existence with all our sincerity. Denying our anger, our fears, our shortcomings, or the difficulties in our lives actually makes them bigger. True growth begins with humbly accepting our own flaws and the reality around us. The things we see and constantly criticize outside are mostly reflections in the mirror of our inner world. Being honest with ourselves is the first step to break the karma cycle. So how does this acceptance lead us to a change, to a growth? The law of growth, when we change ourselves, our life changes too. This law tells us to shift our focus from changing external conditions to our internal transformation. If we truly want to grow, instead of pointing fingers at others or external events, we should turn to ourselves. Real change begins within us, and this internal change inevitably reverberates in our external world. For example, if you are constantly experiencing the same problems in a relationship, perhaps instead of trying to change the other person, changing your own reactions, expectations, or communication style might be the key to breaking that vicious cycle. This law reminds us that our inner growth is the most powerful architect of our outer world. But this architecture brings a significant responsibility. The law of responsibility, we are responsible for everything that happens in our lives. This law calls us to take full and unconditional responsibility for everything that happens in our lives. Events, misfortunes, bad luck, or what others do to us. This law says that you also have a share in all of these. This allows you to break free from the victim mentality and take the helm of your life into your own hands. Learning from our mistakes, accepting our role instead of blaming others or circumstances, is the only and sole path to maturity and progress. Remember, your choices are not just big decisions. Even your small, instantaneous reactions in daily life lead to a consequence. And all these choices are deeply connected to everything. This also takes us to the next law. The law of connection. Everything is interconnected. This law explains that everything in the universe is incredibly interconnected and that every action, every thought creates a ripple effect. Your past, your present, and your future are not disconnected. They are like links in a single continuous flow, a single chain. Even the smallest step you take can lead to consequences of unimaginable magnitude, just like a butterfly's flapping wings can cause a storm somewhere in the world. Therefore, it reminds you that every action you take, every thought you think leaves an indelible mark on the fabric of the universe, and that this mark will return to you. This law shows how vital it is for us to become much more conscious of our actions and intentions. But to see these connections and take the right steps, we need to focus on the right thing. The law of focus. We cannot fully focus on two things at once. This law states that our mind cannot fully concentrate on more than one thing at the same time. Especially if we have personal and spiritual development goals, we must stay away from negative thoughts and energies that distract us. A mind seeking inner peace and growth cannot simultaneously focus on low-frequency emotions such as anger, jealousy, or gossip. Clear focus prevents our energy from scattering and helps us reach our goals faster and more effectively. What we focus on is like which frequency we listen to. What you focus on, you experience. And this focus is also closely related to what we give. The law of giving and hospitality. What we have inside returns to us when we give it to others. This law says that to truly get something we want in life, we must first give it to others. If you seek more love in your life, give unconditional love. If you want abundance, be generous. If you expect understanding, first you show understanding. This rule is not only valid for material things, but also for your time, knowledge, energy, and even a smile. The universe definitely rewards generosity with generosity. Every door you open for others is, in fact, a door opening for you. Just like an echo, everything you release into the universe returns to you multiplied. But to initiate this flow, it's essential to grasp the power of the present moment. The law of here and now. Value the present moment instead of dwelling on the past or living in the future. This law reminds us that dwelling on the pains and mistakes of the past or living with the uncertainties and anxieties of the future takes away the power of the present moment from us. Karma is created here and now, friends. Yes, our past actions may have consequences, but we build our future karma with the choices of the present moment. Staying in the moment enables us to make conscious and powerful choices, and thus we can plant seeds for a positive future. Forgiving the past and planning for the future but not getting stuck on it is the basis of this law. This law also gives us a very important clue to understand the cyclical nature of events in our lives. The law of change. History repeats itself until the lesson is learned. This law might sometimes sound annoying, but it whispers a very important truth. Until we truly learn a lesson, we will encounter the same or similar problems repeatedly. Life will continue to present us with the lessons we need in various ways until we internalize and understand them. If you constantly find yourself in the same bad relationships, similar financial difficulties, or the same types of problems at work, this law is shouting to you, there's something you need to learn here. The only way to break this cycle is to consciously change the situation and our own reactions. Remember, learning is the key to growth and breaking free from these cycles. So what do we need most in this process of learning and change? The law of patience and reward. Valuable rewards require patience and constant effort. This law reminds us that big and lasting changes in our lives do not happen overnight with a magic wand. Every seed takes time to sprout, grow, and finally bear fruit. We may not immediately see the returns of our positive actions, but this does not mean they are in vain. Everything we put effort into will return to us when the universe's timing is perfect, multiplied. Haste and impatience can lead us to make wrong decisions and miss out on potential rewards. This law emphasizes how important it is to act with a long-term vision, stay true to our intentions, and trust the process. And finally, the law that whispers the true meaning of every step we take. The law of significance and inspiration. The true value of something is proportional to the energy and intention put into it. This law states that the true value of an action is measured not merely by its outwardly visible results, but by the quality of the intention and the energy we pour into it. Why you do something is often more important than what you do. True inspiration and deep meaning in life are found in serving others unconditionally, choosing to live in harmony with the universe, and trusting our own inner guidance. Sometimes with a tiny gesture, a positive touch you make in someone else's life can create a karma that is far more valuable and pure than the greatest material gain. This law shows that what truly brings meaning to our lives is not just the results we want to achieve, but also the journey itself on which we embark. The law of patience and reward. Valuable rewards require patience and constant effort. This law reminds us that big and lasting changes in our lives do not happen overnight with a magic wand. Every seed takes time to sprout, grow, and finally bear fruit. We may not immediately see the returns of our positive actions, but this does not mean they are in vain. Everything we put effort into will return to us when the universe's timing is perfect, multiplied. Hastiness and impatience can push us to make wrong decisions and can cause us to be deprived of potential rewards. This law emphasizes how important it is to act with a long-term vision, stay loyal to our intentions, and trust the process. And lastly, the law that whispers the true meaning of our every step. The law of meaning and inspiration. The true value of something is proportional to the energy and intention put into it. This law states that the true value of an action is measured not just by its outwardly visible results, but by the quality of the intention we load into it and the energy we expend. What you do is often more important than why you do it. Real inspiration and deep meaning in life are found in serving others unconditionally, choosing to live in harmony with the universe, and trusting our own inner guidance. Sometimes, with a tiny movement, a positive touch you make in someone else's life can create a karma that is much more valuable and pure than even the greatest material gain. This law shows that what will truly add meaning to our lives is not just the results we want to achieve, but also the journey itself which we embark upon. These 12 laws offer us an incredibly deep guide to the functioning of the universe and life. What you have heard so far is just a beginning of how comprehensive karma is and how it affects every moment in your life. So how will we use these laws in our own lives? How will we turn the immense power of our thoughts, words, and actions on karma in our favor? Exactly the answers to these crucial questions are waiting for you in the next section. Get ready to open the doors of your mind wide, because we are starting to understand the true transformative power of karma and to redesign your life from beginning to end. Definitely do not miss it, because this section will be the key to what will truly change in your life. As we just deeply examined the 12 universal laws of karma, these laws serve as a compass for us to understand the basic operating principles of the universe and life. But what if what we've learned so far is just a tiny piece of the iceberg of this ancient wisdom? And what if you are unaware of 3 fundamental tools that you constantly use to build your future, unconsciously, and that possess incredible power in your life? Now we will dive into the most fundamental and powerful mechanism of karma's operation. That is, its heart. We will discover how our thoughts, words, and actions gradually, stitch by stitch, shape our destiny. These 3 areas have much more power than you think, and each of them contains the keys that will open the door to the great transformation we will experience in the next section. But first of all, let's take a look at the silent spark that begins everything. That is, our thoughts, which ignite in our minds. A thought karma, everything begins with an idea and creates infinite ripples in the universe. We touched upon the importance of intention in the great law of karma, didn't we? Well, now we're going to delve much deeper into that concept, down to its smallest particle. Most of us perceive our thoughts merely as abstract, fleeting things swirling in our minds. We assume that as long as no one hears or sees them, they are null and void. However, this is one of the biggest and most dangerous misconceptions in the functioning of karma. Our thoughts, even if they are not physical, are pure energy. Every single thought radiates a frequency unique to itself, spreading into the universe as a living vibration. And this frequency, by the law of resonance, like a magnet, attracts similar energy to itself. So believe it or not, what you focus on and what you think about, you attract into your life. This is like a universal broadcasting station. Whatever frequency you broadcast on, you receive broadcasts on that frequency. The deep power of intention and its effect beyond action. The main factor determining the karmic outcome of an action is not just the action itself, but the intention behind that action, which is sometimes invisible. Imagine giving money to someone. If your sole and only purpose is to genuinely and sincerely help that person, this creates a pure, sparkling, positive karma. But if you give the same money merely to show off, to say, "Look how generous I am," or to gain future benefit, even if your action is the same, the karmic energy stemming from your intention will be completely different, perhaps neutral or even negative. The real cost or reward is hidden not in the action itself, but in the purity of the intention. The universe reads the intention in your heart. So what about an intention that doesn't turn into action? Can a purely ill-intentioned thought, a desire to harm someone, jealousy, or a momentary feeling of anger, plant a negative seed even if it doesn't result in a physical action? The answer is absolutely and surprisingly yes. Because the universe perceives not just concrete physical actions, but also energy vibrations. It senses and records them. Every thought in your mind is a type of energy investment. Have you ever deeply considered what kind of return this investment will yield? The control of your mind is precisely why it's so critical. The power of mind, the mechanism of attraction and repeating cycles in our lives. Thoughts affect not just you, but also the energy field around you. A person who consistently thinks positively, with gratitude, constructively, and lovingly, radiates a magnetic field around them. This magnetic field attracts similar positive events, inspiring people, and unexpected opportunities into their life. It's no coincidence that positive, cheerful people are always around you. Conversely, a mind constantly fed by thoughts of anger, jealousy, victim mentality, constantly blaming others, or excessive anxiety attracts similar negative energy into their life. Because the universe expands whatever you focus on. Now ask yourself, have you noticed certain cycles in your life? Constantly the same types of relationships, the same financial difficulties, always the same failures, or the constant feeling of being misunderstood by others? It's so easy to blame external circumstances, isn't it? But what if the real reason is a subconscious pattern lying deep in your mind, a belief from your childhood, a constantly repeating thought cycle? This pattern, without you even realizing it, might be repeatedly attracting these situations into your life. The first step to breaking these vicious cycles is to find those initial thought seeds that created them and consciously change them. Mindfulness, awareness, observing thoughts, and the art of transformation. The key to managing thought karma in a positive direction is mindfulness, that is, mental awareness. Learning to observe our thoughts from a distance, like an observer, instead of just experiencing them. Realizing that they are fleeting and do not define who we truly are is a liberating step. This requires mental discipline and continuous practice. Practices such as meditation, journaling, putting your thought flow onto paper, affirmations, and techniques for recognizing and consciously transforming negative thought patterns can offer invaluable help in this process. Remember, to be the master of your mind is to be the master of your future. Can just observing your thoughts prevent them from enslaving you? This is a much more powerful and liberating technique than you might imagine. As you develop yourself in this area, we can move on to the next powerful tool of karma, your words. Be word karma, the vibration and echo of words, a bridge between creation and destruction, approximately 1330-1900. If our thoughts are the seeds of our lives, then every word that comes out of our mouths is the water that nurtures or withers these seeds. Our language is endowed with an invisible yet incredible power. Every word is an energy frequency radiating into the universe and possesses astonishing power. The power of a word can sometimes be sharper than even a physical blow. It holds both an incredible creative and destructive potential within it. So have you ever thought about how every sound that leaves your mouth returns to you, how it echoes in your life? This isn't just a figure of speech, but a real flow of energy. The creative and destructive power of language. Every word has a consequence. Constructive words, words like giving thanks, a sincere compliment, encouraging someone, supporting, expressing love and appreciation, radiate positive energy exponentially to both the speaker and the listener. Such words strengthen relationships, build trust, increase cooperation, and create positive cycles in your life. For example, giving a sincere "thank you, you did a great job" to a colleague at work not only boosts that person's motivation, but also elevates your own energy. Such small gestures can return to you as similar positive interactions in the future, perhaps even unexpected support. Destructive words, gossip, lies, slander, defamation, constant criticism, cursing, judging, belittling others. Such words heavily load the speaker's karma with negative energy. Although they may provide temporary relief or a sense of superiority, the vibration of these words spreads into the universe and attracts similar negative situations, people, and energy into your life. Remember, no lie can remain hidden forever. Sooner or later it will come to light, and every lie has a cost. This cost usually appears at the most unexpected moments, hitting you when you are most vulnerable, leading to loss of trust or damage to reputation. When you gossip, you are essentially stealing from your own credibility, and this can lead to people who don't trust you or even people who gossip about you entering your life. What is the karmic difference between thinking something and saying it? Sometimes silence is the most powerful answer and creates the strongest karma. Words you say to yourself, inner voice and self-affirmations, the echo of the inner world. Even if you don't say it to anyone else, the language we use towards ourselves, that is, our inner voice, has a much stronger impact on our self-worth, self-confidence, and therefore our karma than even what we say to others. I can't do it, I'm not good enough, I'm incompetent, I'm unlucky. These constantly repeating inner voices program our subconscious in a negative way. Notice how this inner dialogue prevents our successes and limits our potential. Think about self-sabotage. Instead, consciously discover the power of positive affirmations. For example, I am enough, I am strong, I deserve to be successful, I am getting better every day, and self-compassionate talk. Being kind and supportive to yourself creates positive inner karma. This positive inner energy accelerates positive reflections in your outer world and leads you to your goals. The karma of listening and awareness in empathetic communication. Karma is not just about speaking, it is also deeply about how we listen. Active and empathetic listening emphasizes how important it is in communication karma. Truly listening to someone, not just what they say, but also trying to understand the emotion and need behind it, shows that you value them and creates a deep, positive karmic connection. This is listening not just with your ears, but with your heart and mind. So how does your way of listening affect what comes back to you? Have you ever thought about it? When you listen in a conversation only thinking about what you will say or judging, you cannot truly receive the other person's energy. This situation can lead to you not being listened to in the future, being misunderstood, or not receiving support from others. Sometimes you learn the biggest karma lessons just by listening carefully and empathetically. Truly listening is not just a communication skill, but also a deep spiritual practice and a tool for positive karmic investment. See Action Karma, planting seeds and harvesting, the manifestation of energy and the harvest of results, approximately 1900-2430. If our thoughts are intentions, our words carry energy. But what truly initiates the karmic cycle and manifests the results, that is, brings that energy wave to life, is our actions. An action is not just a physical movement. It's like a wave you release into the universal energy network, creating an unstoppable and irreversible echo. Just like ripples created by throwing a stone into a lake, every action we take creates an expanding sphere of influence. So, have you ever thought that every step you take could bring about a much bigger result than you imagined, and that these results will return to you sooner or later? Our thoughts carry intentions, our words carry energy. But what truly initiates the karmic cycle and manifests the results, that is, embodies that energy wave into flesh and bone, is our actions. An action is not just a physical movement. It is like a wave you unleash into the universal energy network, creating an unstoppable and irreversible echo. Just like the ripples created by a stone thrown into a lake, every action of ours creates an expanding sphere of influence. So, have you ever thought that every step you take could bring about a much, much greater result than you imagined, and that these results will return to you sooner or later? Physical actions and concrete results, cause and effect cycle, positive actions. Acts such as helpfulness, honesty, compassion, unconditional sharing, hard work, being fair, supporting someone directly yield concrete positive results. Extending a helping hand to someone in need, showing kindness to an animal, committing wholeheartedly to your work, conducting an honest business. These literally attract positive energy, unexpected opportunities, and people who will support you into your life like a magnet. When you smile at someone, they smile back at you, or when you act generously, goodness comes to you from an unexpected place. These are among the simplest and most visible manifestations of this law. Have you ever thought that even small daily actions, such as picking up a piece of trash from the ground, giving up your seat to an elderly person on public transport, or feeding an animal you see on the road, could actually have surprisingly great karmic benefits? These seemingly small, self-sacrificing steps elevate your energy and attract similar positive events into your life. This is a continuous feedback loop. Negative actions, stealing, harming, lying, being unjust, laziness, intentionally causing pain to someone, manipulation, these types of actions inevitably lead to negative results. Mud you throw at someone will stick to you sooner or later, perhaps at a moment you least expect. Harm you inflict on others may one day lead you to experience the same pain or a similar experience. This is not a punishment, but rather a learning cycle. The universe gives you the greatest lessons by making you experience the consequences of your own actions. Lying can cause you to lose people's trust. Being unjust can lead you to experience similar injustices. Karma's justice mechanism is unfailing. The karma of inaction, the power of passive choices and inertia. Karma is not just about what we actively do, friends. Sometimes remember that not doing something that needs to be done, not intervening in a situation, or not taking responsibility also creates a karmic consequence. Not speaking up against an injustice, not helping when you could, not using your talent or potential, not seizing an opportunity, these also create a karma of inaction. Such situations can lead to you not being helped in a similar way in the future, or missing important opportunities in your life. Sometimes the biggest karmic debts arise not from what we actively do, but precisely from what we don't do. Realizing that inaction is also an action and what it can fundamentally change in your life can be a great awakening. So in what areas are you creating karma of inaction in your life, and what are its consequences? Zygarnik effect and curiosity gap. This question puts a mirror in front of many of us that we avoid facing. Responsibility and accountability. The golden rule for breaking the karmic cycle. Behind every action and even every intention lies a personal responsibility. Karma always teaches us that we must face the consequences of our actions. This means accepting our role, our share, instead of blaming others or external circumstances. It whispers that we must break free from the victim mentality and firmly take the helm of our lives. Learning from mistakes, compensating for wrongs done if possible, and consciously avoiding repeating the same mistakes are the keys to breaking negative karmic cycles and opening a new positive page. This is the foundation of personal growth and maturity. To become the master of our own karma begins precisely by assuming this responsibility. It is discovering the power of saying, I created this situation and now I can change it, instead of saying to anyone, this happened to me. This deep and comprehensive functioning of karma in the triangle of thought, word, and action shows us that the control of our lives is actually in our own hands. However, sometimes the burdens of the past, negative cycles we unknowingly created, or subconscious patterns make it difficult for us to fully take this control. At this point, a crucial question comes to mind. Is it truly possible to completely break free from these negative cycles and create a continuous, uninterrupted positive karma flow in our lives? And furthermore, how do we do it step by step? The answer is much simpler than you think, but it requires a deep inner transformation and courage. In the next section, we will discover how to consciously transform karma in a positive direction. That is, how to completely rewrite the script of your life from scratch with the most practical methods. Get ready to transform yourself and reach your highest potential, because this section will be the key to what will truly change in your life, to your liberation, and to reaching abundance. Do not, under any circumstances, miss it. In previous sections, we deeply understood what karma is, its universal laws, and how our thoughts, words, and actions affect the system. Now we know that everything we experience in our lives is, in some way, the fruit of the seeds we have sown. But what about those negative seeds you may have unconsciously sown until now? How will you cleanse them? Or more importantly, what kind of seeds should you plant to attract more abundance, happiness, love, and success into your life? The answers to precisely these questions are hidden in the coming minutes. Now we are diving into the most practical ways to create positive karma, which will transform your life from top to bottom. Let's begin. A positive karma towards oneself. Cultivating the inner garden. The journey of creating positive karma often seems to start from the outside, but in reality, it begins from the deepest point, that is, from within ourselves. Without cultivating our own inner garden, we cannot project a pure and clear energy to the outside world. Self-compassion and forgiveness, letting go of the burden of the past. Mistakes you've made in life, regrets, perhaps you are so harsh on yourself that you continue to carry the burden of the past on your back. Yet the first step on the positive karma journey is to forgive yourself. Being compassionate towards yourself is one of the greatest positive karma actions. Because when you forgive yourself, you shed that negative energy and you change the frequency you send to the universe to be forgiven. So what does forgiving yourself mean and how is it done? This is not about ignoring the past, but about learning from it and releasing the burden. And with this lightness, you make room to plant new seeds. Personal growth and continuous learning, nourishing the mind. Constantly nourishing our minds with new information, new perspectives is one of the most valuable investments. Reading books, learning new skills, participating in training to develop yourself, these not only increase your knowledge but also fill your mind with positive and constructive energy. Being in continuous learning and development sends the message to the universe, I am open to growing and developing. So as you continue to develop yourself, have you ever thought about which doors you unknowingly opened? Healthy lifestyle, respect for the body temple. Our body is the temple of our soul in this world. How we treat it directly impacts our karma. What we eat, how much we move, how much we sleep, all of these affect our energy and therefore our thoughts and actions. Taking good care of your body is a reflection of the respect and love you show yourself. When you treat yourself well, you send the message to the universe, I am valuable and I deserve goodness. So how do you think this relationship you build with your body affects your other relationships? The answer might surprise you. Gratitude practice, inviting abundance. Perhaps one of the most powerful and simplest ways to create positive karma is the practice of gratitude. Every day, list the things you are grateful for. This could be a small glass of water, the warmth of the sun, a message from a friend, or your ability to breathe. Gratitude shifts your mind from a scarcity consciousness to an abundance consciousness. You send the message to the universe, I already have a lot and I am open to more. So have you noticed which new doors open when you are grateful? This simple practice could be the key to accelerating the positive flow in your life. Be positive karma towards others. Touching with empathy, approximately 30:00:37:00. After cultivating our inner garden for ourselves, it's time for the relationships we build with people in the outside world. Never forget that everything we give to others returns to us multiplied. Empathy and understanding, walking in someone else's shoes. Instead of immediately getting angry or judgmental about something someone does, have you ever stopped for a moment and thought, what would I feel if I were in their shoes? Empathy is trying to understand others' perspectives. This is not just a communication skill, but also a deep spiritual practice. When you show empathy, you don't display a judgmental attitude towards others. You send them an energy of unconditional understanding. This energy allows you to be understood and supported more as well. So, have you ever noticed how your relationship transforms when you truly empathize with someone? The answer can lead you to much deeper connections. Unconditional goodness, the magic of giving without expectation. The purest form of karma is doing good without expecting anything in return. We can call this random acts of kindness. Holding a door open for someone, complimenting a stranger, offering a small help to someone, these may seem like small gestures, but the wave of positive energy they create is immense. These actions elevate your energy and send the message to the universe: I am a giver, I share. And you can't imagine how this message will return to you. So, how do you think these small acts of kindness turn into big opportunities in your life? Helpfulness and generosity, enabling the flow of abundance. Not just material things, but your time, knowledge, and energy are also resources you can generously share. Volunteering, supporting a friend during tough times, sharing your knowledge with others, generosity is one of the most effective ways to open the doors of abundance for you from the universe. Because when you create a flow from one place, the universe finds ways to return that flow to you from another place. Have you ever wondered why truly generous people generally live in more abundance? This is a simple karmic law. Forgiveness, releasing negative energy. Forgiving those who have wronged us or broken our hearts is perhaps one of the most difficult karmic actions. However, when you don't forgive, you remain bound to that person or event, continuing to carry negative energy within you. This is like a chain that poisons you. Forgiveness is not about justifying that person. It is about freeing yourself from that negative energy. When you forgive, you send positive energy to both yourself and the person you forgive. So what big doors open in your own life when you forgive someone who hurt you? You can't even imagine the answer. Positive communication, building bridges. The communication we establish with others also directly affects our karma. Using supportive, constructive, and kind language, avoiding gossip, being understanding instead of judgmental, creates positive communication karma. This enables you to attract positive and constructive communications as well. Not entering into a negative relationship cycle with anyone is an important way to protect yourself and maintain a positive flow. Our karma is concerned not only with people, but also with the universe we live in. Being sensitive to nature and all living beings is an indispensable part of creating positive karma. Respect for nature and sustainability. How we treat nature, the planet we live on, directly affects our future quality of life. Being sensitive to the environment, consciously using resources, prioritizing recycling, keeping the environment clean, these are positive karmic actions that demonstrate our responsibility towards the universe and future generations. When we take good care of our planet, we are essentially investing in our own future. Compassion for animals. Not harming living beings, being compassionate towards them, helping animals are important ways to accumulate positive karma. Every living being in the universe has a value and a soul. The compassion we show them returns to us as similar compassion and understanding. So far, we've learned what karma is, how it works, and the most fundamental ways to create positive karma. When you incorporate these practices into your life, an incredible process of change and transformation will begin. However, sometimes there's also a situation we unknowingly accumulate called negative karma, isn't there? Burdens from the past, recurring negativities. So how will we recognize these, and more importantly, how will we break these cycles forever? The answers to these very important and life-changing questions will be waiting for you in the next section. Don't miss it, because the most critical section yet is about to begin. Just a moment ago, we talked about wonderful ways to create positive karma, didn't we? Now we know how to attract more goodness and abundance into our lives. But now we're coming to a very important topic. What about that negative karma? Those annoying cycles that keep repeating in your life, problems you just can't get out of, always getting hit from the same spot. These can be negative karmic burdens that we've accumulated unknowingly or that stem from the past. So how will we recognize these burdens, and more importantly, how will we cleanse and transform them? This section will give you the keys you need to truly free yourself and break those vicious cycles forever. If you're ready, let's take a closer look at those negative energies we shy away from facing but must transform. Signs of negative karma. Let's recognize the vicious cycles in your life. Negative karma generally manifests in our lives as certain patterns and recurring problems. It can make you feel as if an invisible thread is always pulling you back to the same spot. Recognizing these signs is the first and most important step on the journey of transformation. Recurring negative cycles in life. Have you ever said, "Is this happening to me again?" If you consistently face similar problems in your relationships, work life, financial situation, or health issues, this is a big sign. Perhaps you're constantly experiencing the same type of draining relationships, or you always find yourself in the middle of similar conflicts at work. It's as if the universe keeps presenting you with the same lesson until you learn it. Have you ever wondered what these cycles are actually trying to tell you? The answer might lead you to a deep truth about yourself. Persistent problems in relationships. Are you constantly experiencing the same kind of arguments, misunderstandings, or disappointments in your close relationships, friendships, or family ties? Karma, especially through relationships, shows us its lessons very clearly. There might be a reason you constantly attract people with the same dynamics into your life. Perhaps there's a shadow aspect or a belief you need to resolve within yourself, and this is being reflected in your external relationships. Financial difficulties and a feeling of bad luck. Does money constantly slip through your fingers? No matter how hard you try, can you just not reach the financial comfort you desire? Or are you constantly experiencing small but annoying setbacks? This could be a negative karmic cycle stemming from your past financial decisions, your attitude towards others, or your thought patterns regarding abundance consciousness. Have you ever thought that your relationship with money is connected to karma? Constant anger, jealousy, or victim mentality. Do you constantly feel angry at someone or something? Do you find yourself envying others' successes? Or do you constantly feel that life is unfair to you, that things always happen to you? These kinds of negative emotional states are not just momentary moods, they are also indicators of negative karmic energy. These emotions pull you down and cause you to attract more negativity into your life. So have you ever thought about which karmic lesson these emotions are actually pointing you towards? Be understanding the roots of negative karma. Where does this burden come from? Recognizing negative karma is a start, but true transformation begins with understanding its roots. Why do certain things happen to us? Where does this burden come from? Consequences of our past actions. Karma's most fundamental principle: what you sow, you reap. Consciously or unconsciously, everything we've done, said, or thought in the past has a consequence. These consequences can appear sometimes immediately and sometimes years later. Perhaps you've wronged someone in the past, hurt someone with a word, or failed to use your potential. These could be the seeds of some of the difficulties you are experiencing today. Subconscious beliefs and patterns, hidden programs. Sometimes negative karma originates not directly from our actions, but from beliefs and patterns hidden in our subconscious. For example, beliefs from childhood such as "I'm not good enough" or "life is hard" can unknowingly cause us to constantly attract difficulties and feelings of inadequacy into our lives. These are like an old computer program managing our lives on autopilot. So have you ever wondered what hidden programs are running in your subconscious that pull you down? Finding and changing these programs can bring a freedom much greater than you imagine. Ancestral patterns and intergenerational karma, optional niche dependent. According to some philosophical approaches, not only our own actions but also the actions of our ancestors and their unresolved energies can be passed down to us. Recurring dramas, illnesses, financial cycles within a family, these could be signs of an intergenerational karmic burden. If your channel's niche also covers spiritual or mystical topics, you might briefly touch upon this. What if the roots of a problem you're currently experiencing go back to generations long before you? Doesn't that sound fascinating? This concept shows how broad and deep karma's sphere of influence is. See practices for transforming negative karma, releasing burdens and becoming free. Recognizing negative karma and understanding its roots is a great start. But the real question is, how do we transform it? Now we will talk about the most practical and effective ways to release those burdens and open a brand new positive page in your life. Remember, this is not something that will happen instantly. It requires conscious and continuous effort. But every step you take will bring you one step closer to freedom. 1. Awareness and responsibility, the art of holding a mirror. Recognizing negative patterns and recurring cycles is the first step of transformation. This means asking, why does this situation keep repeating in my life and what is my part in it? Instead of why did this happen to me? Taking responsibility means stopping blaming others or circumstances. Saying, this is my karma, I created it and I can change it, means taking the power back to yourself. This is not easy, but it is liberating. So what happens when you take responsibility for the most challenging situation in your life? The universe's response to you begins to change. 2. Deep remorse, sincere and learning lessons, cleansing the past. Being sincerely remorseful for mistakes made but without succumbing to guilt is very important. Guilt feeds negative energy, while sincere remorse opens the door to transformation. Remorse means, I will never do it again. Seeing every mistake as a lesson. Karma is not a punishment, it is a teacher. Asking, what is this situation teaching me, prevents you from repeating the same mistake. What are the biggest lessons you learned from the difficulties in your life, and have you truly applied those lessons? 3. Making amends and repair, mending broken bridges. If possible, trying to make amends for the harm caused lightens the karmic burden. Apologizing to someone, compensating for financial damage, trying to mend a broken heart. These physical actions concretize your intention and correct the energy flow. But what if there's a situation you can't make amends for? Then the intention is important. Sincere remorse and the intention not to repeat it provide energetic compensation. Some bridges have been burned, but it is always possible to build new ones, and while building these bridges, you make peace with yourself. 4. Unconditional service and forgiveness, transforming negative energy. Serving other people, animals, or nature without expecting anything in return is one of the most powerful ways to transform negative energy into positive energy. Volunteering, helping an elderly person, participating in environmental cleanups, these kinds of actions ensure karmic balance. Forgiving those who hurt you, who broke your heart. This is perhaps one of the most challenging but also the most liberating steps. When you don't forgive, you remain attached to that person or event, continuing to carry negative energy within you. This is like a chain that poisons you. To forgive is not to justify that person, but to free yourself from that negative energy and your dependence on that person. So what big doors open in your life, and what lightness do you attain when you forgive the person who hurt you the most? You can't even imagine the answer because this is a spiritual leap. 5 conscious choices and forming new patterns, rewriting the future, making conscious decisions and forming new positive patterns to avoid repeating past mistakes. This begins with awareness. This behavior brings me negative karma, I will change it. Being conscious in every step you take, every word you say, and every thought you think in your daily life. Noticing and transforming negative thoughts when they arise, pausing and breathing when you get angry, speaking positive things instead of gossiping. These small but consistent steps will gradually dissolve negative karma and replace it with a positive flow. This is like constantly building a muscle. The more you practice, the stronger you become. Recognizing and transforming negative karma are the steps that will bring the greatest liberation in your life. However, on this journey, there is also a concept often confused called destiny, isn't there? So does karma determine our destiny, or does destiny guide karma? Where does the fine line between these two concepts end? And how does knowing this distinction enable you to take control of your life? The answers to precisely these crucial questions will be waiting for you in the next and final section. Don't miss it, because this section will illuminate one of the greatest philosophical dilemmas of your life. So far, we've talked in detail about what karma is, how it works, and its positive and negative cycles, haven't we? Now we understand better that many things in our lives actually stem from our thoughts, words, and actions. But at this point, the same question always comes to mind. What about destiny? Does karma determine our destiny, or does destiny guide karma? Since these two concepts are so close to each other, where do you think the fine line between them ends? And most importantly, how does understanding this distinction enable you to truly take the reins of your life? Now is the time to illuminate this ancient philosophical dilemma. Get ready, because this explanation can fundamentally change your perspective on life. First, let's look at what we call destiny. Most of the time, we think of destiny as fate or what is written, don't we? As if everything is predetermined, a path drawn that we cannot change no matter what we do. In Eastern philosophy, this is sometimes interpreted as the accumulation from past lives. That is the idea that some of your starting points, some of your potentials, and some of your difficulties in your current life are already written. Just like a character in a computer game starts the game with certain abilities and a specific initial map. This means a predetermined playing field for you. So where does our free will fit in then? This is precisely where karma comes in. Karma, however, tells a completely different story. Karma is about your actions. Your thoughts, your words, your choices. Destiny might offer you a playing field, but how you move within that playing field, which paths you choose, which enemy you fight, or which treasure you find depends entirely on your karmic actions. So destiny gives you a hand, but how you play that hand is your karma. Every single choice, every single reaction that comes from you opens a new path within that written destiny, rewriting it. To put it more simply, destiny is the cards you are dealt. But karma is how you play those cards. You might have bad cards, but by playing them in the best possible way, you can turn the game in your favor. Or you might have great cards, but ruin everything by playing poorly. That's why wise people say, destiny is in love with effort. This saying is actually karma itself. Because with your effort, your struggle, your conscious choices, and your actions, you can change the potential of the destiny presented to you and even transcend it. Remember this, the difficulties or opportunities you encounter in life might be a script presented by destiny. But how you react to this script, how you learn from these difficulties, how you seize these opportunities is entirely shaped by your karmic choices. That is, you might be in the flow of a river destiny, but how you paddle in that river, karma, is the power that will take you where you want to go. Have you ever wondered why two different people facing the same difficulty achieve completely different results? That's the difference. It's in their karmic reactions. Therefore, karma and destiny are not opposites, they are complementary. Destiny offers you a framework, but what you fill that framework with, what colors you use, what picture you paint, depends entirely on your karmic will. If you ask who holds the end of the rope, know this. The starting point might be destiny, but where you tie that rope, how you use it, how you direct the course of your life is entirely in your hands. What kind of power does this knowledge give you? It's the power to cease being a passive spectator of your life and become its active creator. And how you use this power will be determined by the extremely important steps we will discuss in the next section. Get ready, because it's time to bring together all the knowledge we've gained so far and consciously steer your life. Yes, friends, we've completed a huge journey. Starting from what karma is, we deeply examined its 12 universal laws. We learned how our thoughts, words, and actions create a ripple effect in our lives, the practical ways to create positive karma, and most importantly, how to recognize and transform negative karma. We even illuminated the fine line between karma and destiny, didn't we? Now we know that the end of the rope is in your hands. In light of all this information, keep one thing in mind: karma is not a distant and mystical concept. It is a dynamic energy law constantly operating and effective in every moment of your life. Don't forget that every step you take, every thought you think, every word you say will create an echo and return to you. This is not a system of punishment, but a mechanism of learning and development through which the universe constantly provides you with feedback. So what will you do now? Will you just listen to all this information and move on, or will you truly incorporate it into your life? Remember, the greatest karma is not applying what you know. I have a small challenge for you. Starting today, consciously begin to perform a positive karmic action every day, no matter how small. Perhaps a sincere smile to someone, a small help to someone, or a kinder thought towards yourself. These small steps over time will create a huge positive flow in your life and take you to places you can't even imagine. Because the architect of your life is none other than yourself, with your thoughts, your words, and your actions. Remember, everything that comes from you returns to you. The universe is just like a mirror. I hope this video has inspired you, opened your mind, and helped you start a positive transformation in your life. If you found the video useful, please don't forget to like it. By subscribing to our channel and turning on the notification bell, you can be instantly informed about this and similar transformative content. And most importantly, share your karma-related experiences or the biggest lesson you learned from this video with us in the comments section. We love interacting with you. See you in the next video. Keep creating positive karma in your life always. Goodbye.